Knoxville police are investigating an officer-involved shooting that tied up traffic in West Knoxville this afternoon. KCSO tells us a deputy shot two people after they rammed him with their car. Now, this all started at the Kroger gas station on Cedar Bluff Road in West Knoxville, and it moved to the eastbound ramp of I-40 where officers caught the suspects.
10 News reporter Emily DeVoe joins us live tonight from the Kroger gas station where this incident all started. Emily, what exactly prompted this situation?
Well, you see, officers were trying to serve several arrest warrants on this suspect, including aggravated robbery and domestic assault. They say when they approached him at the Kroger gas station, he turned violent. Authorities say he rammed his vehicle into the officer's cruiser, pinning him between two cars. And that's when they say the officer fired his gun, and the suspect, with the passenger in his car, took off out of the parking lot, down the embankment, and onto Cedar Bluff Road, leading officers on a short chase ending on the I-40 East on-ramp just 2 blocks away.
There was a passenger in the car as well. Both people were struck with what appears to be non-life-threatening injuries and transported to the University of Tennessee Medical Center.
The officer was also taken to UT Medical Center. At this point, we don't know the names of any of the people involved. But as is protocol, the Knoxville Police Department will be investigating the shooting since it involved a sheriff's officer. Now, tonight at 6 o'clock, hear from a man who saw the whole thing unfold, what he noticed in the days leading up to today's shooting that made him think something might be up. Send it back to you guys in the studio.
Emily DeVoe with the update. Thank you very much for that.
Another